It is surprisingly the first open source ASIC Bitcoin miner we've had ever. It is a permissionless project. Anyone can get it and take it and make it what they want. I'm keeping it punk.
I'm here with Skot from Bitaxe, and we're going to talk about Bitcoin mining, I presume. We're not talking about Ethereum mining, are we?
No, Bitcoin only.
Cool. So I wanted to talk to you because you are the godfather of open source mining. Is that fair to say?
Sure. Yeah, Godfather. Yeah, okay. It's a cult.
Okay. And so what is written on your hat? Why do you wear that?
Bitaxe. Well, I'm the instigator of the Bitaxe project. It's a small miner. It is surprisingly the first open source ASIC Bitcoin miner we've had ever.
Right. Okay.
Which is kind of insane. Been working on it full time for the last 2 years, and it's become kind of a thing. People are into it.
Big time. How did you actually get from an ASIC machine, which right now you're going to see it in my hands here, thanks to AI and whatever. How did you go from that to that? Like, what are you doing there?
Well, it's important to know ASIC stands for Application Specific Integrated Circuit, and it's the chip.
Yeah.
And it's not like a Bitcoin specific thing. It's just an industry term. Like There's an ASIC in your microwave. It's just like a specific function that is kind of compressed down into silicon for a chip. So in this case, it's a Bitcoin mining ASIC. So that's all it does, is it mines Bitcoin. Like, it can't do anything else. It's kind of magic. But yeah, like a little over a decade ago, Bitcoin mining ASICs were invented, and they started putting those into those machines, right? And it was a huge increase in the network hash rate, like massively changed mining. As a downside to that is that's when Bitcoin mining sort of went closed source. Like before that, it was open source. Anyone could get into it. It was pretty open, and that's when I started getting into it. And I was like, this is cool. Then ASICs came out and they're rad, and I wanted to build my own.
Oh, I see.
I'm an electrical engineer. I've been designing circuits for a long time. I like Bitcoin. I was like, my two favorite things together. Why don't I build one?
Good guy. Okay.
And then I was bummed to find out that there wasn't any way to do it. In a large part because the miner manufacturers that make those chips, they don't sell just the chips.
Right.
They just sell the machines, the ASIC miners. So what I had to do was basically get one of those machines, unsolder, and take the chips out. Like in one of those ones, there's 200 to 300 chips in there.
Of which none are very useful to you, or they're all useful to you?
Those are the ASICs. That's what I want.
Oh, I see. So you're trying to get this out of
Yeah, I'm trying to get it out because they won't sell me just the chip.
Right, okay.
In the electronics industry, normally, if you want to use an electronic component, you can just go to a distributor. They want to sell you them.
Right.
They'll give you a manual for how it works. And that's what I was experienced with. And then Bitcoin mining ASICs, it was like, oh man, no, you can't do this. Which to me seems especially unfortunate considering it's Bitcoin and it's open source. You should be able to just do things.
Yeah, inevitable question, why can't you get in there? Why have the manufacturers of the ASICs miners, not the actual ASIC chip, to differentiate, why have they made it so you can't just buy the chips? Because surely there's a business model there.
This is what I'm saying. I don't know the answer to that. I think it's ridiculous.
Right, okay.
Here, that's what their real sort of intellectual property, their real market advantage is how good they can make those chips.
I see.
Like how efficient they can make them. They spend tens of millions of dollars to make those chips, each new version. It costs an extreme amount of money. And so that's what they make that's really good.
Okay.
The machine that they're in is it's not that hard. So I feel like they should sell the chips, but why don't they? I don't know. Do they just want to have control over it? Do they want to?
Do they know that, this is actually something that a lot of Bitcoin enthusiasts, I don't think, realize, is that every one of those Bitaxe came from, is it an S19, is it S21? You'll correct me on this, but you had to buy that to get to the chip. Is that right? So you had to dismantle it, then put it all together again.
That's the easiest and cheapest way to get it. There is this sort of like weird gray market of people who somehow get new chips from the factory, all in China, very sketchy. You might get scammed, you might get a different chip or a chip that doesn't work.
Okay.
It is possible to get new chips, but it's not good. It's not a good situation.
Right, okay.
Sort of the easiest way is to take a brand new miner and unsolder all the chips.
Unsolder?
Yeah.
That's a word. Yeah.
unsolder. Yeah, like it's a very involved process.
Okay, so you're literally manual by hand, presumably. Or do you have machines now that can dismantle it? We're talking S9, we're talking S19, like we're talking the shoebox, or we're talking the big, chunky thing? Which one?
I started with the S9
Okay.
chip, and then moved to the S17, which is the bigger size one,
Right.
and then the S19, and then the S21, and then the S21 Pro.
Right.
So I have several versions of Bitaxe now that use all those different chips.
Okay, and so when I bought a Bitaxe as part of this video I'm making about why do solo miners keep getting rich. I will come to that in a second. And how do I know what they were dismantling in order for them to assemble their Bitaxes?
Well, so we have various versions of the Bitaxe. They all have cool names. So the one you got, I think, is probably a Gamma.
It's Gamma, yeah.
That's sort of the most recent one, and that's the chip out of the S21 Pro.
Right, okay. S21 Pro, okay, cool.
And then the previous versions, Supra, Ultra,
Yeah.
Max, those are going back through the previous versions of chips.
I wanted to understand that first, and we've covered the fact that they spend millions on R&D. Why are you giving away the secret grandma's recipe to creating these Bitaxes? Because you could have also made loads of money off this, right?
Yeah, I mean, it started as a hobby project.
Right.
I just kind of got into this because I like building electronics and I like Bitcoin. So it was very much not a business. Like I had a day job designing electronics, and I just kind of wanted to do this. And there's a lot of guesswork involved in it. It's reverse engineering, like trying to figure out how that chip works because there's no documentation that goes with it. And I needed some help. Also, in my previous life designing sort of non-Bitcoin electronics, I relied a lot on open source hardware. It's a thing, people do it. And so when I was doing this, it seemed natural. And I wanted help, and this never was envisioned to be what the Bitaxe is now.
Right.
So I just, open sourced it, put it out there, and it worked. Got a bunch of excellent contributors and collaborators who were like, yeah, I want to work on this. Professionals in their field who were like, want to work on this.
Okay.
So that's how it started. I think as it got going, I realized that there's this real problem of not having open source in Bitcoin mining. Because closed source, proprietary, is by definition centralized, right?
Yeah.
There is a organization, a company, a person that makes all the decisions for how it works.
Okay.
And I think that that's antithetical to Bitcoin. That is ridiculous.
So it's kind of an ideological play from the outset. Do you regret not making this a economic enterprise, a commercial enterprise?
No, not at all. And I don't think the Bitaxe would even be a thing had it started off that way.
Oh, cool. Interesting. Because ultimately it doesn't actually make money, right? Or
yeah, it doesn't make money. You can't make money with the Bitaxes. I mean, you can make money manufacturing them and selling them, but you can't make money running them unless you're extremely lucky. But you don't want to start a business playing the lottery.
That's effectively what Bitaxe is. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So do you think that the average Bitcoiner should be mining at home? And if so, why?
Bitcoiners are pretty rad because you can just do what you want. And that's kind of more what the Bitaxe angle is. It's like, if you want to try mining, this you can, right? This is sort of the lowest barrier to entry, the cheapest, the most accessible Bitcoin miner. I think it's pretty cool, so I highly recommend that Bitcoiners give it a shot.
Yeah.
It's a great way to learn about mining. And who knows, maybe it's your sort of gateway drug to like really getting involved in serious Bitcoin mining.
Okay. So that's a yes, basically.
Yeah, that's a yes.
Start mining, guys.
Start mining. Yeah, you should do this. I mean, there is an important point there of the sort of the hash rate. They talk about hash rate centralization. And right now it's very centralized, right, on a few big players. And so the extent that we can get more people spread out about the world with differing views on how this should work, mining, I think that does make Bitcoin more resilient.
Right, okay. But, when people talk about decentralization in Bitcoin, they often refer to like the nodes and the protocol, whereas you're referring to decentralization within mining and mining pools.
Yeah.
Why should we care about this centralization risk within mining pools? That's not like Is that a core tenet of Bitcoin? Like, surely it's just the nodes that verify the transactions. I can run a node at home, can run it on an old computer, that ensures it stays decentralized. Why should I care about minor centralization risk? What's in that? Is there anything in there?
I mean, mining is an incredibly important part of Bitcoin, right? You can't have Bitcoin without mining. So yes, it is a risk to have that be centralized. Even if we had somehow completely decentralized pools and block template creation, selecting what transactions go into the block, you could still have miners that just choose to do something else. And if there's just a couple players, then that has sort of a large effect on the network, what they want to do. Right, we have miner activated soft forks, right?
Yeah.
The big miners that are solving lots of blocks get to choose sort of what soft forks get enabled.
Okay.
That's one thing. There are issues, right, if miners stop mining.
Right, okay.
Bob Burnett has I think it's called Satoshi's Heel, and it's a really cool look into like, what would happen if the network hash rate just completely dropped off, right? Transactions aren't getting processed, like Bitcoin slows to a crawl. We still have, 2016 blocks to go until the next difficulty adjustment. It would have a pretty detrimental effect on Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. And then there's the other thing, right? If we have hash rate, like who's running the machines, controlled under just a couple roofs, that's a sitting duck for regulation.
Okay.
Right now a regulator in whatever jurisdiction they're in just calls them up and it's like, stop doing that, or start mining Bcash or whatever, I'm going to throw you in jail, and they don't really have much choice.
Right. Okay.
When we have the hash rate decentralized, it becomes immune to regulatory risk.
Right, okay. So it covers lots of different angles there, but ultimately the Bitaxe is a way of saying, let's combat this centralization risk by putting Bitcoin miners under more roofs rather than these 3 or 4 big ones, right?
Yes, but I mean, we have to be real here. Like the Bitaxe is a very low hash rate miner.
Yeah.
It would take 1 million Bitaxes to be 0.1%.
To be 0.1%?
To be 0.1% of the network.
1 million Bitaxes. Are you aware of how many have been made or sold so far?
100,000 is my guess.
So
I mean, again, I don't really know. There's no official tracking.
Okay. I think this might be worth, maybe I'll do this another time. I might reach out to the Bitaxe sellers that I know and be like, how many have you sold?
Yeah.
And get a sense of.
Yeah, that would actually be a really good idea. I'd love to know what Power Mining says.
Yeah.
I kind of get hand-wavy numbers from these guys, but...
Oh, really? Yeah. I mean, I've sold probably 100. So, doing
Dang,
that's
there you go.
It's 0.00001%. Here we go, guys.
It's
huge.
It's just, everything counts. But I guess my point is that Bitaxe alone is unlikely to have a substantial effect on the network. But it's not just Bitaxes, right? Bitaxe is an open source Bitcoin miner. It is meant to, it's meant to do a lot of things, but one of the things that I see happening, and is very cool, is it's that gateway drug to becoming a miner developer, right? So there are already people, you've looked into the Nerd QAxe, right? That's someone who took the Bitaxe design and made a new version with more hash rate.
Yeah.
And the hash rate heat punks are doing the same thing, right? They are the guys who are deep in the weeds on making Bitcoin water heaters, hot tubs. There's an immense amount of potential out there for hash rate. And currently that market is not served by the existing miners. Okay. So they need to make new miners, right? If we can do those in an open source way, it becomes decentralized, and that is the unstoppable force. Okay. So this is just like the sort of, hopefully the tip of the iceberg of really decentralizing the hash rate.
But at the same time, when you were tinkering with these S9s, 8 years ago, I guess, something like that?
Yeah. Well, I guess that's when I started.
Okay, so when you were tinkering back then, did you think, in 8 years' time, there's going to be 100,000 Bitaxes sold all around the world?
Definitely not. Definitely not. I was just really screwing around, and I had no idea what I was doing. Because it is an actual black box. You cannot tell how it works. I was just flailing, teaching myself how mining works so that I could understand what the chip is doing.
And presumably all of the Bitaxe that you mine with at home, you made yourself?
Well, some of them I've made myself. Okay. Sometimes people send me the ones that they've made, as a thank you, or to check out, be like, why isn't this working, kind of thing.
Oh, I see. How many do you have?
I've probably got about a dozen.
Okay.
Bitaxes running in, various versions and various states of disrepair.
Right. And do you know anyone that has, say, a Bitaxe mining farm at their house? You ever seen this or heard of this?
Yes. This guy, random dude, posted on Twitter a picture of his basement. And it looked like this dark, dingy basement with all these shelves, and they're like sagging, and there's like one light bulb, in the corner.
Couple of bodies.
And it was just, right? It looked like that kind of basement, except for the entire wall was covered with Bitaxes. And I responded to the guy on Twitter. I'm like, this is insane. How many are in there? 110. And I was like, well, why? Right? Like, you could just buy an S19, it'd be cheaper, and you would have, potentially 3 times the hash rate. Mm-hmm. And he was like, yeah, I just got one. I thought it was cool, so I got another one, and then I got a couple more, and then, I really like those, so I got a couple more. But I mean, that's the way, right? Those big miners are very expensive, right? Mm-hmm. Think like $5,000, $8,000. Mm-hmm. So that's a big initial purchase. That's where you can kind of incrementally get into it.
DCAing with Bitaxes.
Yes.
But he's also like, feel like he needs to go to Bitaxe Anonymous or something.
Yeah.
Or therapy, maybe.
I feel like in retrospect, though, not a good idea, bro. Like, but, he's into it.
It speaks to the hobbyist nature of Bitcoin, which is what a lot of people forget when people talk about, price pumping and ETFs and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Ultimately, like the backbone of the network are people like himself, like yourself, that are just tinkering around at home, and before you know it, you've got 0.001% of the hash rate on the way to hopefully 0.1%. What do you say to the critics? As a lot of critics, I mean, even the YouTube comments I've had on the past Bitaxe video I put up, they were like, there's absolutely zero point in me running this because the odds are 1 in 17,000. I've got to wait 17,000 years effectively before I'm going to mine a block.
Yeah.
What is the point of spending 100 quid on this? I should just buy Bitcoin instead. What do you say to them?
Yeah, sure, buy Bitcoin. Like, you could just do what you want. I'm absolutely floored by the success of the Bitaxe. When I was first getting into it, I was like kind of unclear if people were going to want to buy these or make them because it's not a profitable thing. But I did see other small home miners that were around, and they were actually selling. Like, I actually got on eBay and saw like the completed listings and like what people were buying. I was like, wow, okay, maybe people are into it. We'll give it a shot. If you don't want to buy it, don't do it. I definitely don't want anyone to be tricked or unclear into what they're getting into, right? This is not going to be profitable. This is a lottery. Your odds are very bad. But, if you're curious about Bitcoin, specifically Bitcoin mining, there's no better way to do it.
So you mentioned heating, and that's a trend I want to go into this year. Given the way in which the miner reward is obviously reducing every 4 years, or the block reward, sorry, and transaction fees aren't that huge. Bitcoin mining for Bitcoin mining's sake is probably going to be less and less attractive. And you mentioned heat earlier. Bitcoin mining for heat. Do you see a future in which home appliances, heaters, all of those things are sort of mining Bitcoin? Maybe phones are mining Bitcoin with a tiny chip in them, on like an idle mode. Is that the future of Bitcoin mining, or do you just see there being even more economies of scale, even more efficiencies with the likes of Bitmain and via BTC and all these guys? So even more factories. Like, which way is this going?
Well, I'm pretty sure the efficiency of miners is plateauing, right? All the low-hanging fruit has been picked. I don't see any drastic improvements without like a revolution in the way the ASICs are made. Okay. So that's plateauing. I do think that hash rate heating and home mining is 100% the future. That's where it's going.
So the Bitaxe, the aesthetics are steampunk.
Yes.
It's like punk rock. It's cool. It's skate park, but it's not Apple. It's not sexy. I doubt there's many women buying these. No offense to the women. I'm sure there are women buying them, but you know what I mean. It's not the sort of thing that's going to get you laid anytime soon. Certainly that guy's basement. He is not getting laid with that.
No, probably not. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. Dude's a rock star. Yeah. With the nerds.
Yes. Exactly. So do you think that that's the direction maybe we should explore, like getting a nice like premium like iPad style Bitaxe that do a pink one, do an orange one, that kind of thing? Is that a direction that could be interesting to go in, or are we keeping it punk?
I'm keeping it punk.
Okay.
But this is the cool part, right? Is you can just do things. It is a permissionless project. Anyone can get it and take it and make it what they want. And in fact, there are some cool projects right now, like some nice like milled aluminum enclosures, very slick, quiet, cool. Some people are taking it that way. I mean, if you have a certain design aesthetic that you think is right, I mean, the Bitaxe is the project for you. You can take it, you can modify it, And it's like, let's go. This is encouraged. You know, we do have an open source license, right? So if you change the Bitaxe, when you distribute it, you're now obligated to release your changes,
Right.
meaning the source of your changes. That's one of the caveats of the license. But I think that that's not going to stand in the way of you making money with your super slick looking Bitaxe for women.
For women and kids, you know.
And kids,
you know.
yeah, right? Art piece. I mean, there's a couple people that are like, Scott, the Bitaxe looks like a circuit board. No one's going to want that. Like, I'm going to make it look cool. And yeah, my message to them is like, let's go. Let's do it. Like, nice. That isn't in my skill set to make that. So please, let's get some help.
So, okay. Thanks so much, mate. Any closing comment or anything? Or?
I mean, I'm super stoked that you're looking into this. I think that, you know, people should just give it a try. Like, I see lots of those comments of like, oh man, what's the point? Like, I'm not going to make any money. I would say, you know, look into how much money you will make if you drop $10,000 on a big miner. Like, it's a cutthroat industry. It's very unlikely that you can just take one of those and plug that in and make money anyways. So I think people do end up doing those calculations and they're like, oh man, I can't even make that work. I'm not going to get into Bitcoin mining despite wanting to do it. So I don't know, you just do it.
Just do it. Okay. So thanks also for your time in talking about the Bitaxe.
Thanks for having me.
See you there. Cheers, mate.